What's good, y'all? Welcome to the first episode of Kingdomvzn. Today I got a special guest, the first guest. Introduce yourself to the people.
It was good, everybody. My name is Trey Tiggs, from Flint, Michigan. Yeah, that's pretty much me.
But yeah, we're going to get straight into it. But I like to start every episode with a Bible verse, and the Bible verse is Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Do not be conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you'll be able to test and approve of God's perfect will. So we're going to get straight into the questions. My first question is, when was the time you had to trust God when things didn't make sense?
Back in March, when I was at my last job, I had lost my job. I had nothing lined up. And that's when I had just went to God about it, just prayed about it, just asked Him to guide me and direct me to my next steps because it's hard. This is my first time ever losing a job. You feel me? This is my first time ever. I'm young in a profession, only 24 years old. So I just prayed to God, asking Him to just lead me and guide me in the right steps, towards my next career field. And I always had a passion for helping others and being there for other people. I just reached out to my old school student athlete support system people because I knew that the GAs that were there, that they just had graduated. So I reached out to the department and just told them, hey, I'm looking to finish up my master's degree. That summer an internship in academic advising, so I know how to deal with athletes, I know how to talk to people, things like that. And prior to taking this job, I just knew that I always had a passion for helping people, and I knew that I wanted to get back in school because it was just something I was dreading me. I would say because it's dang, I had a year left. I took a job and didn't finish, but I knew that I always wanted to finish. So when I lost my job, it didn't really make sense, but I just prayed to God about it, and then I reached out, emailed some people, got an interview, and I got a job. So really just praying to God, in tough times where stuff don't seem to make sense, and when times are hard, because you just go to Him about it.
Yeah, now I definitely feel you on that, because I was actually watching this video today about when you're about to receive a breakthrough, and then he said that whenever you're about to receive a breakthrough, sometimes God removes things from your life, and I kind of feel like that happened with me in a way as well, because a lot of times in my life, and I'm only 24, so I haven't lived that long as well, but I feel a lot of times when I wanted to do things, something was removed in a way, or something like a bad injury happened. I just found out that was God redirecting me to something that's better, pretty much. God, whenever a door closes, the saying they said, another door opens. So yeah, I definitely feel you on that. So my next question is, what's the hardest part about having faith, you feel like?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Oh man, I would say we tend to find it easier to trust God, and have faith with me. Oh crap! I just stepped on a nail.
Oh, damn.
But I think we find it easier, to trust God, and have faith when things are going well. But when things hit left and things don't go our way, we tend to question, why is God? Why that happened to me? But we have to understand, that God is in control. He's front and center, of our lives. So I mean, sometimes we had those questions where dang, is God real? Or why does God happen to me? Scripture that came to mind was Isaiah 45:7. It says, I create the light and make the darkness. I send good times and bad times. I, the Lord, am the one who does those things. And I had wrote down, I said that we have to have faith, and believe in things no matter how it look, and just be confident that God will work it out for you. And pretty much like what I have, like on that. But you know, I think we all just tend to, find it easier to believe and trust in God when things going good for us. But when things hit the fan, it's like, dang, like why
Yeah,
you
it's
just
kind of hard sometimes.
up and then we lose faith, and like we get the falling into temptations, like just second guess things, and we just got to understand that God, He's front and center, like in our lives, and we got to let Him work in us, and we just got to control what we can control.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's something I actually say about, like, we just gotta control what we can control and allow God to control the rest. But now that I say, this kind of has me thinking about it. I feel like the hardest part for me about having faith is like control what I can control pretty much. I saw that in the sermon actually today. And I forgot the pastor's name, but he said that, like, we gotta, like, sometimes in our faith we can want to control like the outcome so much that we can't create our own like assumptions pretty much. So like that's why it's important that like there's another verse that says that, like, his ways aren't our ways and his thoughts aren't our thoughts, and we gotta, lean not on our own understanding. So yeah, I feel like that's the hardest part at times, because sometimes we could be having faith but then feel like dang, this doesn't logically make sense, but we still gotta just believe. So yeah, I definitely understand that. Um, so my next question is, damn, my eyesight bad. Um, what was the vision that God gave you, and how did it change over time?
Uh, I would say the vision that He gave me was around April like of last year. I say probably before that, like once I found Kings for Christ Bible study, and I started going to those Bible studies, like it been, like around those guys. A vision that God had gave me was, you know, it was just this picture of like just being surrounded, and like that's what I was looking for. Before Christ, I was, like just looking to be around, like positivity, like good guys, things like that. I'm not saying that the people that I was hanging around before Christ was like bad people, because they weren't. But I was just looking, like to be around, different people in like Ypsilanti, Michigan, because that's where like I was staying at the time. And the picture that He gave me was like just being surrounded, and I got surrounded, gave my life to Christ, and like the rest, like it's history. So like it was just, He changed my life that moment on April 24th, 2021, when I gave my life to Christ and just started, like just wanted to be all in and just trusting in Him.
Yeah, I kind of was like picturing that. That sounded like really vivid. You said like you felt like you were like surrounded.
I wouldn't say like that I wasn't surrounded, but the picture that He gave me was like just being surrounded by like other people, like just being surrounded, like in a good way. And like that's what I got once, I went to the Bible study. Like I felt welcome. I felt like I knew these guys after just having, like conversations with them. Like it's like I've been knowing these guys my whole life after one day. And as I continued to go to these Bible studies, it was like, dang, like these are kind of people that I want to surround like myself with. And like that was a vision that I got. And that's when I'm like, okay, like I need to be all in. Like I need to give my life to Christ. Like I need to just be all in and stay away from the world. Not in a bad way, but just
Yeah, like kind of like isolate yourself in a way,
I,
or like separate.
I want to say separate, because I mean I want to say like I was really in a world, like if that makes sense. Like I think uh I don't know if it's like two like definitions, like of the world versus the world is what like Christians say like that the world is. But I was more so, just a homebody, man, like just chilling, pretty much doing, what I do now. Didn't really, go out party, drink, smoke, or nothing like that. I was just, I was just around. I won't even say I was around bad people, because I wasn't. Like, so I can't really say the world, but
It was
I
like
guess I
a
was
switch
living.
of environments in a way.
Mm,
I guess I would say I was just living like for myself and doing things how I want to do them, like if that makes sense. So yeah,
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of the verse I actually said on your podcast, Matthew 16:25. Like, whoever wants to save their life will lose it. Whoever lose their life, the Lord will find it. So you kind of feel like you were like living. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but like living like the way you wanted to live more than like God in the way. If that makes sense.
yeah, that definitely makes sense. Like I mentioned like last week, I was cursing a lot. Had a lot of bitterness, like unforgiveness, hatred, jealousy, all of that kind of stuff. Like just living for the approval like of others. Like wanting to fit in sometimes because I felt that I was too much of a good person. To not really be surrounded by people. I guess. So just doing things like on my own, just handling situations the way like I wanted to do them. So yeah,
Like I feel you on that, but that actually kind of brings me to my next one. I was gonna say, did you ever feel like you were isolated or set apart when you began following Jesus?
good question. I want to say that I was, like isolated, because I had those guys from Kings for Christ, like my brothers in Christ who started that Bible study. So I want to say that I felt, like isolated, but once I, like gave out my life to Christ and was, was just starting like to understand more about Christ and how to live like Jesus. It was things that I had to give up. I had to give up, entertaining drama. I had to give up, cussing. I had to give up, uh, like I told you, like pornography. Like that was something that I was, like addicted to. Um, and just certain people like that I communicated with who was always negative, never wasn't like no positivity, just people who wasn't bettering my life in areas where like I needed it to be better in, I guess. So like just letting go of you know old things and old ways, and some people had to be removed. Like that was like a tough one as well. But it was all for a good thing. Because the saying is like you are who you hang around. I necessarily don't agree with that, but I mean you can start to pick up like certain habits. I mean necessarily not like what they're doing, but like how they're acting towards people, how they do things, how they talk, things like that. So I necessarily don't like agree with it because I mean I don't believe that that's true, but uh, after like a while, like you start to pick up some of their traits. So
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But, I guess for me, like I kind of can relate to that too, but like in a way, I feel like with me, and it's like sometimes I feel like I was isolated. That could be because like I wasn't like I actually just joined a group. It's called the Covenant like Christian. It's called the Covenant Christian like men's group. But like I found out like once I joined that group, like I didn't feel as isolated in a way. But like when I wasn't in that group, like when I was talking to like certain friends, they just wasn't like understanding certain things I was saying. Like I would talk about God, they would be like, you were seeing a vision, like nah, you must just be seeing stuff. Like they just weren't like understanding what I was saying. So it made me like feel isolated in a way. But once I got into like an environment with people that like actually thought like me, I didn't feel like I set apart or isolated in a way because they kind of like shared my like same belief. Like if that makes sense.
yeah, and now and now like you see like the differences when like you hang around like non-Christian people versus like the believers. It's like a huge difference in
Yeah,
like how that conversation goes and things like that. Which is not a bad thing, but like you can tell like the differences and like the differences versus before you came to Christ and then now that you're in Christ. So I think that's like a cool thing, like to notice as well.
yeah. That's why I like to say Romans chapter 12 verse 2, like do not conform to the patterns of the world because yeah, sometimes the people you're around they can kind of like bring you back into like old habits sometimes.
Yep.
So yeah. My next question is, it might be kind of personal. I know some people like don't like answering sometimes, so it's cool if you don't. But like, are you waiting until marriage for sex?
Uh, that's a good
Or,
question, man.
not, or, no, I'm actually saying that would you wait until marriage for sex?
Uh, I would say yeah. Just because I could always had like that mindset. Um, and not being with like different being with like a lot of women and things like that. Like I witnessed that plenty of times. Like just being around like certain people like and things like that. So like I always had the mindset like of that. Um, because one day like eventually like I want to have a family like in the like a wife, so like none of the baby mama drama or things like that. But I always pretty much had like that mindset, because like I want a family, like eventually, and so yep.
Yeah. Um, that actually brings me to another question. It didn't come directly after this, but like, do you believe like there is like a one for everybody?
Oh man, that's a good question. I wrote it down somewhere. Hold on. Um, yes. Where is it? I believe in Genesis. Genesis 2:18. Um, I like it talks about crap, bro. That's a good question.
Yeah, Genesis 2:18.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So it says it is not good that man should be alone, and I will make him a helper, or make a helper for him. And I do believe that there's always like there's a one for everybody. Just one like God, made man for man. So I feel like there is a one for everybody, but like everybody move, like at their own speed, at their own pace. Some, trust in God, some not, just trying to shoot their shot at the first woman that they see. So I do believe that there's a one out there for everybody. It's just moving on God's time and not mine. So
Yeah.
I definitely, like agree because like in Genesis 2:18, like that's pretty much like what he's saying. Like it's not good for man to be alone, right? So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that too. And like another verse that I was reading a lot lately was yeah, I can't think of like the exact book it came from, but it said that like a man that finds a wife finds a good thing, and they receive favor from the Lord. And I didn't realize that second part that says like, and they'll receive favor from the Lord until about like 2 days ago. So then that just made me realize that like whenever we're finding our wives, then like we're gonna receive like favor like from the Lord with that. So it just kind of like encouraged me a little bit. But yeah, I definitely think it's a one out there for everybody. We kind of already talked about the next question, like what are some of the signs, or what are some ways that God showed a sign to you? I don't think we touched on that one.
Some signs.
Yeah, like have you ever felt like you received like a sign from God in a way?
Yeah. So yeah, man. So once I got here to Omaha, like I found the church home. Before like I moved here, I was surrounded by the male Bible study, right? So I was looking to be surrounded, right? So I'm on TikTok scrolling and I'm looking for churches in Omaha, like Nebraska. Found the church. My pastor PT, he was preaching, like a sermon, and I'm like, okay, like this seemed, like pretty cool. Like I want to check this church out. Reached out to the girl who posted the video. She gave me the address, whatever. Moved in my apartment on August 18th, with the church on August 27th. One of the other pastors, OC, he preached about being surrounded, and I'm like, well, that's crazy because I was really like praying about like being surrounded, finding a church with small groups, things like that, because like that's like what I want to be on, right? So OC like preached about that, and I'm like, that's a sign from God, because I was really like praying, like just praying, you know, to help me find a good church home that'll take care of me, that'll open me with welcome arms, things like that. And like my experience, like at that church, like my first day, I was greeted, I was welcome. You know, like after church, they got my contact information. They sent the email like the same day. So I'm like, this is a sign from God, because like because I was looking, and I seen like multiple churches, but some of them were closed. So it was like, okay, like, I'm gonna give this church a try. So then that next Sunday after my first week at church, um, it was a small group launch. So I ended up DMing OC after church the first week, and you know, I just told him like who I was and that I'm from Michigan. I'm looking to be surrounded, and that this message touched me in many different ways, because I was praying about finding, you know, like a small group, praying about being surrounded, and you know, he really like preached about that. I'm like, bro, like this is crazy. So he ended up messaging me back like that next day. He said like come chat with him after church, like that next week. After church, I chat with him, whatever. And he introduced me to younger guys in the church that's around my age. So he introduced me to Britton, Nick, and Easton and Sam. And then I joined Nick and Britton small group, and I also joined Easton's small group, and I just got connected and like squared away like right away. So like that was a sign from God, because I was praying about it, and He answered my prayer. So you know, just shout out to TikTok for even letting me find that church, because I mean, I think I would be miserable if I didn't find that church. Not saying that there's like other churches out there, but Love Church had like what I was seeking, and I found it like right away. So
Yeah, and it says that in the Bible too, like what we seek we'll find. So, but so like what was the like the time span between like you seeing the vision and then you like get into the church? Like you said it, I forgot what day. I forgot what day you said it was.
yeah, so my vision, you know, like giving like my life to Christ, like that I mentioned, that was April 24th of 2021. So what, April, May, June, July, August. So within like 5 months, like I found the church home, and like that was a sign, because I knew, you know, that I wasn't going to be, you know, like in Michigan anymore with those guys. So you know, I had to figure something out. Luckily, we still have our Bible studies like every Saturday, and it's been an ongoing thing for almost 2 years now. So, but I only been a part of it for like a year, but yeah.
So you kind of had to like be patient during that time as well. Like 'cause that was like 5 months that like you prayed and you saw a vision, but you had to wait like 5 months in order to actually like physically see it. So like, you kind of had to be like patient during that time.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, for sure.
yeah,
You know, it's hard being patient.
yeah, that's like that's something I struggle with a lot. Like just being patient. But it says that yeah, we gotta patiently wait for the salvation of the Lord. So, yeah, the patience is key, definitely for God's time. Um, Next question is, what is a alpha male to you? Now, what I mean by alpha male is I basically said this because like I watched. I'm not sure if you're familiar with like red pill. Like red pill is basically like this is said like I basically started watching videos like that after I got out of a relationship, and to be honest, that kind of brought me closer to God because I was going through a lot at that time. But something that like a lot of people in that community say a lot is like to be an alpha male, you got to be this, you got to be like that, and they list all these things. And then one day I was just thinking like, nah, in the Bible it says that God is the alpha. So like if God's the alpha, we gotta like model ourselves like after him. So I guess my question is like, what do you think like being an alpha male is like pretty much?
Uh, that's a great question. Honestly, like when it came to mind, you know, when you asked me this, uh, I just got, you know, someone that's a leader and someone that's gonna provide and, you know, do the right thing, man. Like honestly, like that's what came to mind. You know, like I can't, you know, come up with anything else, but that's what came up to me. I mean, you know, just like just being a leader, like doing the right things and being able to uh, provide and just a man of God, man. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's what I say. Like being the alpha male is like basically just being a man of God, and like when you follow him, like he gives us all our thoughts. He gives us like all the visions and things like that. So yeah, when we follow him, like we'll just like all those qualities will just like naturally come to us. But so my next question is, do you view God as a father, a friend, a brother, um, or like all of those are just God, pretty much?
Honestly, uh, I would say like above all, like all the above, because like I would say I view, uh, well, we serve God, right? So like without God, like there's no us, um, and he's provided, he's done, things that no one thought he could do. Just like when he walked across the water, bro, like people, like they were shocked that he even did that. So like we serve one guy, like without him, like there's no us. I mean, he was the creator of the earth. He provided, he did A, B, C, D, bro. So like without him, like there's no us. So I definitely view him as all. He's someone that I can go to. When I'm struggling with something, he can be somebody that I can go to. When I'm doing well, he's a just somebody that I just uh, go to whenever like whatever it is, because he'll make a way and he listens and he sees and hears everything. So definitely view him as a friend, brother, and a father.
Yeah, for sure. I would have to say, um, yeah, I'll probably have to say all above too. And it's crazy because somebody actually asked me that a couple of days ago, and I was like, "Man, that's a good question." And at first, I said I just view God just as God, but then I was like, nah, I kind of view him like as a father in a way too. But then, like actually in the Bible, I forgot what verse it was, but like it says that he's like all those things, like he's all those things in one. So yeah, I'll probably say I view him as like all the above too. But yeah, the last question is like I wanted to get your opinion on like one of this video I did, like getting girls' numbers using a Bible verse. So the verse I actually used was man, I'm trying to think because I thought of a couple. Like I asked them like basically, do you believe that like God directs your steps? It said that like God directs the steps of the God directs the steps of the godly. And then I asked them, like, do they believe that God directs their steps? Some people had a problem with it on TikTok, but a lot of people like didn't. But I just wanted to get like your opinion on that pretty much. Like, how do you like feel about that?
No, man. I honestly think it was a great pickup line, because I comment, like on a video, like, yo, I'm gonna use that, like I memorize it at first before, I just go out, I can try to say it. But honestly, man, like I think it's a good pickup line because you had those women out there that's not even, believers or like follower of Christ. So, like just saying those kind of things, they be like, where'd that even come from? Like, did you make that up?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Reverted back to the Bible, and then it's like, okay, like this is something that's real, like this is not something that's made up. And I think that could be like a way to, maybe even lead some people to Jesus, because
Yeah.
that scripture that you said, I forgot it already, but like that'll have people thinking like, huh? And in the video, like some of the girls were thinking, some of them was like, okay, yeah, but then it's like
Yeah,
some
there's
girls,
one girl made a face like she was surprised, like she was like, dang.
yeah, no. So honestly, I don't think it's bad. Honestly, like I think it's a way, like to find out, if girls are followers of Christ, and then like like the kind of girls that you can, shoot your shot at, and the girls that you shouldn't. So no, and then like in your videos, like some of them girls are funny, but I mean like that scripture, says a lot, and it and it pretty much answers the questions that you probably were looking for. Um, yeah. So
Yeah, because I was asking them, like, do you believe in God? They said yes. So I was like, oh, that's a check mark. And I said, do you believe that God orders your steps? And they said, yeah. I'm like, oh, that's another check mark. And I'm just like, oh, I feel like God directed our steps. But like when I was saying that, I like genuinely meant that because I feel like everybody that I meet, everybody that you meet, like everybody meets whether they believe or not. Like God directs your steps to the people that you meet. And like you never know the reason pretty much. So like, I felt like everybody that I met, like God directed my steps for. So, and I felt like it was just like a funny way to like add a Bible verse as well, and to give out some games. So yeah, that was my intentions on it. But no, I'm gonna tell you the next one I'm gonna use. I'm gonna use I'm not gonna say the whole verse, but I'm gonna say the title of the video is gonna be like, "You think you're wifey material." So I'm gonna just go up to girls and say, oh, there's a verse in the Bible that says, a man that finds a wife finds a good thing. And I'm gonna just say, like, you think your wifey material? And they're probably gonna say yes. Then I'm gonna ask them, do they think I'm husband material? And I'm gonna see what they say for that. Then I'm gonna add the number in after that and see what they say. So I think that one might be a little funnier than the first one I did.
yeah,
But,
it might, but like those are ways for you to even like spread the gospel to those who
yeah,
know Jesus, man. Like, and like for those that say that they do believe in Jesus and things like that, just ask them like, ask them how they following the Ten Commandments.
yeah. That's what I was saying. I was thinking like, after I ask them like, are they wifey material? I might say like what makes you wifey material? So like that could be like another way. But,
Keep the
but
video.
yeah, but you said what?
Like I said, keep the videos up.
Oh yeah, thanks, bro. Yeah, I'm editing another one. Right now the topic it was a topic. Um, man, I had so many topics I forgot. It was like who competes more in relationships? That's what I was asking. Like who they think is like harder for in relationships? I could ask you that for the last question. Like who do you think like has like more competition in relationship? Like as far as like proving themselves.
You talking about like as far as like pursuing or like when you're already in like a relationship?
Uh, nah, kind of like both. Like say you trying to like approach a girl and like for a long term relationship, like who has to like prove themselves more, like in a way.
Honestly, I feel like it could go both ways, but I feel like the guy has to prove like himself more. Just because just how like women are, like in our generation, like they they set the standard so high for us. Like it's
Yeah.
just crazy. It's like, man, like I'm only 24. Like I don't make over $50,000 a year. I don't drive a Benz. Like I don't just have money just to go out and just spend.
Nah, then on top of that, if you're not at least 6 feet, they not even looking your way sometimes. You like
No,
this.
no, man, that's funny though.
And nah, some girls is worse than that. Some girls, this one girl was like, nah, I only date dudes at 6'5". I'm like 6'5". That's like the top 1%. Like, dang. I thought if you was at least 6 feet, then you was good. But nah, some girls want dudes that's like giants, I guess. But
Some of them standards beat you high. Guys gotta prove themselves that they are a provider and things like that. But it's like, man, like not 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 everybody like in their 20s got it all figured out. We're
yeah,
still learning and growing and trying to figure out like, our next steps. To really be tied down to somebody that's that's high demand like that, like nah. So
yeah,
I do feel like men have to prove themselves and show that they're really worthy. And that's not always the case, like there's certain girls like that, but not all of them are like that. But the ones that's like that, that's demanding and things like that, like just look left, go the other way. It's not
yeah.
worth the trouble.
Yeah, for sure. Cause like a lot of girls, I feel like I don't want to say just girls, just like people in general. I feel like don't like to like actually build relationships. So yeah, I definitely understand that. But yeah, that's all the questions I had. I make sure everybody like and subscribe. It's the first episode. And yeah, thanks for joining me.